Yeah, I can hear you
Hey,
now. Hello.
hey, hello. How's St. Petersburg?
Oh, it's nice and sunny and everything is fine here. You can hear it from.
Oh, beautiful. It's a bit cooler here than it was last time you were here. Like September, not July.
Yeah, but I'm so missing Cornwall. I'm so missing Agile on the beach. It's just breaking my heart that I'm still in St. Petersburg.
Oh, next year, July. Get the
Yeah,
dates in your calendar.
yeah, hopefully, yes, if my topic will be interesting enough for the conference.
Yes. So, are you all ready? Have we got your slides?
Yeah.
Neuroscience of the Agile Mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you so much for sharing your interest in this topic. So we're trying to discover, so what is agile mindset and which parts of the brain are responsible for that? And can we do it sort of artificially? So some people do have agile mindset and we would like to hire them, we would like to work with them, but some people do not or have only parts of agile mindset. Can we, as part of the team, as a manager, as a CEO, do something that will promote brain to be more agile and not only act as agile, not only work as agile, but internally be an agile brain? So this is the topic that I would like to discuss today. And I will discuss this from definitely neurobiology. And I'm biologist. I'm specialist in embryology, so I know everything how to make children. And then I moved to IT, I moved to Agile. And then I realized that we work with very clever people. And if we can adjust our processes or use best processes that will promote our brain to work better, even 2%, 5%, if you think especially about IT, what amount of money, what amount of value we can get if our already clever people will work even smarter. And what we will talk about today, we can define as neuroleadership. Neuroleadership is an American institute that is promoting the idea that if we know something how our brain is working, we can apply this to our leadership, we can apply this to our team and make better for them. Yeah, and I'm studying applied neuroscience, thinking about how stress is affecting our ability to concentrate attention. And it's absolutely amazing because with overworking, with multitasking, with all the stress we have all over around, we can make our brains work as practically we have attention deficit hyperability disorder. So we can move our brain in a real disorder, just how we work, how we act, or how we treat our teams. And I hope today's work will also help us to avoid this. And we will need to discuss that mindset. In fact, technically, it's a road in the brain. So the road in the brain where several neurons, these are cells in the brain that are wired together and linked together by default. So when we are happening, there some situation is happening, we are not thinking, we're very quickly reacting to this situation in the way that is already established in our brain. There is an established road and we just use that. And thicker the road, the more lanes it has, the faster our thoughts, the faster our reactions are going into this road. And then we can have the mindset where we can have an attitude, the default thoughts that we have. We have default behavior. We can have sort of results that we think that are for us. We can have our habitual performance. We have habits and actions that we put together. And it all is linked to mindset. And our mindset is affecting all of these things. And what we want from agile mindset, what we want from every mindset, in fact, we want it to become something like breathing, something like swallowing, something that moves birds to go to south and to north, back and forth, something that is closer to instinct, something that is closer to when we are not thinking at all, then we are just trying to concentrate and so on. Something that we do not choose or choose by default. And if we define what agile mindset is, it's definitely a growth mindset, when there is no fear of failure, because any failure is just where we can learn and where we can try again and where we can become better. It's the cornerstone. But just learning is not really enough to have an agile mindset. We need also to be result oriented. We need to be able to do actions and take responsibility for these actions towards results. We definitely need to be able to proceed in uncertainty, where everything around is not certain. It can be frightening. It's definitely stress for our body, but we need to prioritize where we are going and definitely why we are going there. What is the value for our clients, for ourselves? And so the value, so growth, result, and value are the three main words that define agile mindset. But okay, so I would like to have this in my brain. I would like to have this in the brain of my team. But which components should be activated to establish agile mindset? So when we are talking about the growth mindset, about not fearing of failure, we need to have two pieces of our brain to be, one activated and one not that active at all. Amygdala, that is our sort of fear center of very large emotions. We need this to be not too much activated, so it's not blocking energy towards our thinking brain. And we also need hippocampus, that is our memory center. So we need to remember that failure is not end of everything. We need to remember which actions we did, so we have these results. Possibly we need to change something. And then we need this memory to make this analysis, to make this retrospective, identify what needs to be changed, and then use other parts of the brain to be able to move there, to start all over again. Prefrontal cortex that is located here is need to make us be oriented towards result, to focus towards result, to not make too much attention to things that want to distract us. Here is the goal, and I have attention long enough to work towards this goal. And even I need this energy to even raise my hands, legs, and all over, so even to move my body. We need this energy to go throughout our brain towards the prefrontal cortex. We need to use mesocortical dopamine pathway that makes our energy going not just everywhere, but towards our goal. Then we need to have something that, okay, thinking is perfect, but agile is acting. So we need to proceed in uncertainty. We want to start making action, even in uncertainty. The anterior cingulate cortex is part of the brain. This is sort of switch. This is thinking, this is doing. And again, back and forth, doing something, and then being able to reflect back. Are we doing the right thing? Are we doing thing in the right time? Possibly we need to adjust our way a little bit, or just stop wasting our time, money, and energy on this goal that is not longer relevant. Here we need also a prefrontal cortex as ability to prioritize, but anterior cingulate cortex is something like a secretary just in front of CEO, where prefrontal cortex is the CEO and ACC is the secretary just before the CEO, filtering what will go into the prefrontal cortex. And the least, but possibly even the most important thing, the question why, the cornerstone, thinking about value, why we're doing this for ourselves and for our clients. This is the ventral tegmental area where energy in terms of the dopamine, this is our it's a chemical that goes between neurons, that is neurotransmitter, and that gives us energy to be able to move, to concentrate attention, and to achieve our goals. This is sort of possibly a mortgage that we take before and then, so our brain, like a bank, gives us mortgage if we don't have money, so we are able to achieve our goal. So it's anticipation neurotransmitter here, and it's always in the ventral tegmental area. And let's take a look how it goes technically and where it's in the brain. So to be able to act in an agile way, we need energy in terms of dopamine, this neurotransmitter, to go into the prefrontal cortex. But here is not that good news, that this dopamine is not created, it's not so it's not created in the prefrontal cortex. It goes from ventral tegmental area. So this is our why, this is our value. So we need to be able to understand why we're going, and then dopamine is secreted in ventral tegmental area, only in this very, very small part of the brain. And then we need to be able to focus and proceed towards our goal. We need this to go from ventral tegmental area to the prefrontal cortex. And this way is not that easy. There are several blocks that can happen, and we will need to move them away so our energy goes to the prefrontal cortex and we can act in an agile way. So the first one, so the first check that will happen to the dopamine on the way will be in amygdala. This is our fear center that should be not that much active because it's checking for the stress. It's checking for the uncertainty. It's checking, is there a saber-toothed tiger running and wanting to eat us? And then if the answer is yes, there is a saber-toothed tiger. Yes, I don't trust my colleagues. Yes, there is a huge change ahead. Amygdala will say, okay, I will need all your energy to survive. And then all energy will be concentrated this in mesolimbic pathway, this short one, survival one. And there will be no energy to achieving goals that are uncertain, to achieving goals that are going towards our goals that we identified in our head. So the first one, we will need to identify why. Next, to make stress not that large. And this stress is also promoted by hormone cortisol. So we'll need to reduce cortisol so amygdala is not that active. Then there will be a decision center. Nucleus accumbens, it takes information from several parts, from the ventral tegmental area, from amygdala, how much stress we have, from hippocampus, that is our memory center. Do we have experience in treating this situation? Do we have something that we can rely on? Also, there will be a check. Do we trust people around us? Possibly we can ask for help. And then it will be again about value. How much energy I'm going to spend on that goal and how much energy I already have. So, and what I will get from that. So, and is this sort of a scale? Is that important? So what I will get and how much I will spend. And then without us yet understanding this, it will go make a decision, go, no go decision. And we, in fact, so we will try to make something that will move this to the go decision. But in fact, this is happening without us understanding and realizing that this decision is already done. And then our prefrontal cortex, our thinking brain, will sort of rationalize, will say, add words to the already making decision. Okay, then it goes, the decision is made, and then it goes to the anterior cingulate cortex, that is that switch from thinking to doing, and it needs to have quite a lot of dopamine so it is able to be switched, so it's not stuck. And then it allows this dopamine to go to the prefrontal cortex, and then we are able to act in uncertainty. We are able to act towards our value, and the decision of concentrating, going towards goal is made in terms of go decision. It's not no go decision, it's a go decision inside our brain. It's a want system or wanting system. This, in fact, it's an internal motivation. So, to have an agile mindset, we have this internal motivation to be something like constantly turned on, constantly be interested in what we're doing, internally interested, not thinking about money, not thinking about like all this nice stuff, but thinking about internal pleasure of when we're making steps and when we're achieving results that are in line in our values, in our internal goals. And when this system is working, it's very important to be able to work in uncertainty, in constant change, because there are different parts of the brain that are working in known environment and in unknown environment. And there is drastically different amount of energy that we need to have to work in the unknown environment. So there is very deep inside, there is part of the brain called striatum, that is our habit center. That is what we want from mindset. So this is the already established roads in the brain that works as habits that are working when we're not thinking about them. And it sort of needs one end of energy. It's well optimized. It's very deep in the brain. It's very close to the energy center that is in the mental area. And then we will need all these paths to go to the prefrontal cortex that is responsible for thinking, realizing, looking, making decisions, how we will work in the unknown, constantly reflecting here. And it needs roughly nine times more energy than we need for the habitual action. So mindset is very, very, very saving huge amount of energy for us. It's very difficult to establish that, and we need huge amount of energy for that. But when it's already established, it definitely saves us huge amount of energy. So while working this dopamine pathway gives us that energy for change, so ability to work in the unknown. So, and this we can call an intention. It's just like what I want in general, but move towards our goal. It's like in Kanban, when all energy is defined by work in progress toward the goal and make it fast and strong. And I'm really deeply fond in love with Scrum, because you can see how much Scrum companies, practically all companies, have pieces that help us with intention. For example, even in daily Scrum, we set intention for a day. In sprint backlog, we set intention, focused intention for the sprint. In sprint review, we set an intention what additional parts we will have here, and definitely process improvements in sprint retrospective. And also story tests will help us to identify. So the better we understand how result looks like, the easier our intention is. But how we can externally stimulate this intention process and set this as a habit. So there is a perfect tool that is one of the coaching tools, that is the GROW model, that helps us with a set of questions following a certain one after another. And we can't remove one part of this model and keep it working. So there should be all 4 parts that should be one after another. And we sort of ask, so when I'm coaching, I have a client, or if we just ask our colleagues, what do you want? What is our goal? And how we understand that it's done, how our result looks like. And with these questions, we activate this why thing, we activate this ventral tegmental area and show where our result is. Then we ask a set of questions about reality. Where are you now? What resources you have? What knowledge you have? What time you have? Where colleagues can help you with that, or where you can ask for help. And with this reality set of questions, we calm down a person. We deactivate amygdala that can block energy if we feel unsafe. Here we want our brain to feel safer. Here we want our decision-making center to think, so is it a huge amount of stress and what I will get from here? We want to take some part of the stress of the equation. So this value and interest in what we're going to do will just go up and decision will be go. Then we ask for some options. What could you do? A, B, C, D options. And that's very important because our switch anterior singular cortex, our switch from thinking to doing is activated by this set of questions, by thinking about alternatives. We activate this part of the brain. It's just one of the tools for activating this part of the brain. So, okay, we're not only thinking, we're not only wanting, but we can act here. And then there will be a will, so will to do. When you're going to do this, what is the next step? As specific as possible. And here is one tip as well. So we can make our ability to perform towards our decided goal better. There is a Nobel Prize in 2014 for the entorhinal cortex. Entorhinal cortex is something like an internal GPS. So when we go into the new room, we sort of look in all corners. We're creating the map of the new building, of the new room. And it's physically, really physically, we have neurons in this entorhinal cortex. It's part of the hippocampus. It's part of the memory. And we have these neurons that really move and they form something like a maze. They form a maze of our life. They work a maze of our physical environment and our social environment. Who is the boss? Who I can trust? Where the cooler is? Who knows where the printer is? All this type of stuff. And by the way, one of the reasons why people resist change, even the change that is good for them. For example, when moving to the new building, or we're having a new room for our team, or we have a new tool in our computer. So some people resist these changes, even when they understand it will be something better. Because this moving of entorhinal cortex takes huge amount of energy, and our brain doesn't like to spend this energy. And we don't want to do that. And so some resistance to change is from this small part of the brain as well. But in terms of intention, when we say, oh, I will call John next week, that's all fine. So our decision is somewhere in the brain. But when I will say to myself, I will call John at 2 p.m. at my desk on Tuesday. So I'm putting this decision on the entorhinal cortex. I'm attaching this to time, place, and possible to some social environment. So it's stable there. Or I can attach this to the previous action. I will call Pete and then I will call John after I call Pete and get some information. And this simple action, I'm pretty sure you are doing this with all your colleagues or with all your subordinates. So trying when you're going to do this, when the deadline is and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes thinking, oh my God, I'm doing these micromanagement things, trying to get this from people. No, this is not micromanaging. You're helping their brain to work towards their goals, because the probability of doing is going from 38% when we have these decisions somewhere in the brain to 91% when we have this decision that is attached to this internal cortex. And that's quite a nice thing. Also, we can use this GROW model, this coaching model, not only for the large goals that we have. We can make and concentrate our energy towards what we want to do, just on the task level. And then we ask ourselves or ask our colleagues, oh, Pete, what are you going to do? What's your next task from the task tracker is? Okay, this is the task. Oh, what's the goal of this action? So this is the task, what the user story is. Okay, how we understand it's done, what the story test for it is. Okay, and how are you now? What's happening? Oh, I'm fine. What's already done? Oh, this piece is done. This is not done yet, but what can be done next? Okay, I can go to the database. I can do some research. So what can be done next? And what is the next step? Okay, I'm going to do this. I was testing this while I was living in London in 2015. For about 1.5 years, this model was tested. And initially it was tested for the burnout clients, because when we have people and teams with low energy, they are not able to think towards goals that are in months and years. So they are only able to think about goals that are really, really in front of them. Or this can be done on the task level here. So, and we were tested, and 90% of people, what are you planning to do? And what is the next step will be identical. And we can think about, oh, I wasted time, and initial task and current task, they will be absolutely identical, but we sort of artificially, knowing what we're doing, we are setting this wanting system towards the goal and making this habitual, that when I have a task, and possibly I don't want to do this, I set this set of questions for myself or for the team, is introducing this into my meetings, introducing in my Scrum things, and these start to be habitual, so that we don't need to even ask ourselves. So we start thinking in that way, in this order, and using all these parts of this questionnaire to set up all parts of the brain that are necessary for the agile mindset. Okay, we said what we want, but sort of what we will get when we achieve our result in terms of brain. We need some pleasure. Sometimes we eat a cookie and we want more cookies. And just because this sweet, nice cookie, sometimes with chocolate and so on, it really creates some pleasure that is understandable, again, by our ventral tegmental area, but by our reptilian brain, by our inner crocodile that loves cookies, because there is a lot of fat and sugar, there is a lot of calories that increases the probability of survival, and he wants more cookies. But we have parts of the code, we have reports, we have not that nice things, but we still need some pleasure as the result, because we will need to be motivated for the next step, and the next step, going into the uncertainty, trying to be not that much stress and make the decision towards do action. So we will need another pathway, so make our energy in a cycle, so we don't lose psychological energy and don't lose our motivation in action. And here we will use, it's called like system, and here we use our hippocampus. This is sort of a retrospective where we understand and say to myself, it's very selfish. It's not about team, it's about myself. What actions I did to achieve this goal, and what this goal, why this result is important, what larger goal I have. Part of that, this small result is part of. So we have two intellectual pleasures. First is achieving result, And the second is achieving result and understanding that this small result is a part of a larger goal that is very important for us, that has huge value for me. And then when I get this energy from the result, I can precede this result to the team, to the company. Result will be not spoiled if you take your energy from that. And so when we talk about result, there are again huge amount of components in Scrum that work towards the result. Definitely all backlogs, definitely daily Scrum and sprint review. So it's all about result, result, result. Remember, Agile mindset is growth mindset plus result plus value. So result is everywhere. But how we can improve that, how we make it better and more manageable and help others to establish this in their brain. So there is a process called result authorizing. So, and this result authorizing is a protocol. So it's again a set of questions we need to answer. It's a sort of a retrospective protocol, but it's slightly different because this result authorizing, the best time is happening 1 minute, 60 seconds after we get this result. So it is a constant several times a day, sometimes 10 times a day, we make this result authorizing. And we checked for task about 1.5 to 2 hours. This result authorizing internally takes about 40 seconds. So it's very, very quick thing. And also we need to make this result authorizing not more rare, so at least once a day. Retrospective is a perfect thing, but for our brain, we need to make it much faster, much more often. So after each result and at least once a day. Otherwise, there will be no basis for new intention. I made this piece of code, I made this report, okay, I didn't get energy from that, I'm slightly more tired, there is another report, okay, I will do it again, I will be just more tired, and these scales that try what I will get and how much energy I will spend. Okay, I will spend huge amount of energy, and what I will get, okay, I will get a little bit of tiredness as well. So the decision will be no. And you can't make anything with this decision because it's made internally before you realize that it's happening. So we need this result authorizing to make this decision for the next task, give energy for this next task. So the decision is yes. Result authorizing is a logical thing. It's understanding what was done and what is achieved. And it links a result to your role and identity. For example, Scrum Masters and Agile coaches who are practicing result authorizing, they are able to answer very quickly and with full understanding, what are you doing? What are your results? What are your actions towards the team? Because Scrum Master is not doing something with their hands. This code or tests passed is not their results. Result of a Scrum Master is team's motivation. Result of Scrum Master is the process that helps teams and to establish agile mindset. So these are the results. And then a Scrum Master is able to say, oh, I did that, and this is my result. And this is what was intended. This is my intention, what I thought should be there, and planned my actions. Reward is not an authorizing process. Reward, so first you need to authorize process, and then you can say to them, oh, that's great. Oh, I'm great. Or ask someone for the feedback. Look, it's my result. So what do you think about that? And people who are practicing result authorizing, they have more energy and they are more independent from the external feedback. And in that case, these people are not that much afraid of the negative external feedback because so they have more energy and they understand that the intention and the result are identical. So the result is good. And there may be some misunderstanding or we need to work forward because there is a negative feedback from the outside. So we need to explore. So we have a growth mindset. It's interesting why he's thinking different way and so on. So, and if there is no result authorizing, our brain doesn't understand what was done. So thinks that nothing valuable was done, I'm just tired. So there is linked to burnout, the imposter syndrome, high anxiety. And high anxiety, it means that our amygdala, our fear center, anxiety is cortisol, again, stress hormone. And it says, okay, we are not safe and I need this energy for survival, and keeps your energy internally inside your brain, deep inside your brain, not into the prefrontal cortex that we use to concentrate and work towards our goals here. Result authorizing can be about positive results, where we describe the starting point, what the task was and how the result looks like. Then share the process, how the result was achieved. And wording is extremely important here. I did, I smiled, I said nothing, I just shut up and that's it. So very active verb, I did. So not something happened, I did. Then we describe the result. So the result is positive when intention equals to result, it's positive. But you possibly will not feel huge amount of positive emotions here because it's not emotional, it's logical process. But when intention equals results, it's a positive result. If you don't have good emotions here, think about what was intended, what you was thinking about, how the result looked like, and trying not to lie to yourself, because otherwise it will be constantly, I wanted positive emotions. That is why I did this report, and I have the report and don't have emotions. Possibly I have emotions, possibly I need a cookie, and then I need a report, and link the result of the report to the report, not to the emotions. And so something like, there are several ways how you can spoil this. And then when the result is positive, think about and better talk to yourself or write down what I'm planning to do with this result for myself. What larger goal I'm one step closer with this small result. It can be I'm closer to the rest, possibly I'm closer to the next promotion, possibly I'm closer to a feeling of being loved, possibly I'm closer to be calm, possibly I'm closer to the large goal I want to achieve. Anything that is very, very basic things that everyone wants here. But it's very important to authorize positive results. But for agile mindset, we even more need to authorize negative results. So negative results not start this, again, anxiety process, not lose our feeling of us, of being successful, of being able to achieve result. It's very close here, so very identical. So first describe the starting point, what the intention was. Then share the process, how this result was achieved, again in active verbs. And then just say, the result is negative. What I intended doesn't match the result. Sometimes there might be a piece where it doesn't match the result and it's bad. Sometimes it doesn't match the result and it's good. So I didn't intend that, but it's good. I didn't expect that. And this unexpected positive results sometimes will raise huge amount of dopamine, something like winning a lottery or getting an unexpected promotion. And then when you say that it's negative result and this is just like not that good, we need to retrospect immediately. So the goal here to retrospect immediately. Which step from the step 2 was unnecessary? I smiled, possibly the better would be not smiling, but like shut up. Or I walked, possibly it's better will be if I run. So which step unnecessary or which step is missing? So how I should improve our actions. And next, plan first step of the new attempt. What we will get here? Definitely when we have negative results, our mood will go a little bit down. We have lower amount of dopamine, of this energy here, and it's normal thing. We don't need to say there is no problem, no problem, no problem. We need this loss of dopamine because this triggers our learning activity. It triggers us to change behavior. Without it, we're not going to change behavior and we'll go to the same mistakes again and again. So we need to understand that there is a mistake, and then we will need to search around. So what we know about our environment, new things. So understanding, retrospecting new things about this environment. And then our brain rewards us again with dopamine and some other neurotransmitters for knowing more about our environment, because our environment starts being larger and it starts being safer. And it's know more, and so for our survival, it's a very good thing. So our brain rewards us. And these negative results in our brain is moved to the positive, happier, and with something good in the future. So we're establishing this growth mindset very, very, very firmly. And again, so we have this intention and result improved, but we can also help ourselves to reduce cortisol, reduce anxiety, with amygdala not being too active and our decision-making center is not linked to this stress that we have. When we have no stress, our prefrontal cortex is ruling our brain. Where the stress is here, our king is an amygdala. So we need to move our brain from amygdala to prefrontal cortex. There is again huge amount of components that have to reduce cortisol in Scrum, defined, short, that we already discussed, some things like story test, definition of done, definition of ready. We do this with the planning poker, all this type of things, and daily Scrum. We reduce anxiety, what's happening every day, because we're all time know what's happening. There is no tigers here. But we can also improve that. We can use it, we improve that with the process that is called effect labeling, and say that it's not only a problem, but add as many details to the problem as we have, but it should be very short. It shouldn't be storytelling. Storytelling improves, enhances emotion. This effect labeling, very label, very like in Kanban, very short, very defined emotion. I am worrying about report, about health, husband's health. And when we say it to us, to ourselves, we have right ventrolateral prefrontal cortex, it's written down here. And when it's activated, our amygdala, our fear center, is so a little bit less active. So we're a little bit calmer. The defined process is not that frightening process. And we also have a secret ingredient. These all things with intention, result, and cortisol reducing will not work without one secret ingredient that should be in our process all the time. Otherwise, in the ventral tegmental area where our energy comes from, where our why is happening, will not work at all. I'm talking about free will. If we tell to the people exactly what they should be doing, if we put people in the cage, they have only one motivation: to break the cage and go out. So we definitely need to set a free will. And again, in Scrum, there is a huge amount of components where people make their decisions. It definitely needs more energy than just following the rules. But without this free will, all this agile mindset will not have enough energy to work in the growth mindset, in uncertainty, and so on. So when we put this together, we have an agile mindset framework where with the processes like Scrum, we set an internal environment. With the processes like result authorizing and grow model, we set an internal environment, what's happening inside our brain. And we have a cycle. When we reduce cortisol, set up intention, set up result authorizing, and think about keeping free will inside this process of having this energy process inside our brain. And definitely know ourselves, because everyone is unique and what is good for me might be not good for you, and what raises your energy and reduces cortisol might not work for you as well. So it's a very interesting and exciting journey to know what's happening to you. And here then, when we have this whole thing established in our brain, we use the neuroplasticity thing. Neuroplasticity is our brain structurally follows what we're doing, following what we're thinking. So we are, with our actions and thoughts, we are shaping the physical structure of our brain, how different cells, how different neurons are connected to each other. And so what we're trying to do with repetition, we said that there was a huge road of the old mindset, for example, with fixed mindset, with wanting someone to tell me what to do, not thinking about value. Then we use these tools that we just described to set up the initially very, very weak road of new mindset, and then repeat, and then repeat, and then repeat. You might have this from your experience that good agile team will be set up in several months. And with this repetition of several months, with the help, for example, with Scrum process that has these parts of establishing agile mindset. In some time, we'll have old mindset with very, very like small and narrow road, and new agile mindset, thick road. And there we have our agile instinct. When we work and behave and think in an agile way, not even thinking about that, as breathing and swallowing, it becomes our internal self. It becomes our, when we are agile, this be agile, not only doing agile. With this, all the cycle of energy in brain is working. We have energy for change. We are not afraid of change and able to go to the unknown environment and get absolutely brilliant results according to our values. Thank you so much. I hope it reveals some insights for you, and I'm ready for the questions if we have time. Hello, I don't hear you.
Hello, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, so we've got a couple of questions. We'll try and do them quickly because there's coffee and cake for everyone. If in testing phases, tasks are going wrong, how is it best to boost energy levels to keep on task or boost positive mindset?
Oh, it's thank you so much. It's absolutely brilliant question. I am from testing environment myself, and changing thinking about an error is something like think about yourself as a hunter. So this is a nice rabbit. So you're a fox, there is a nice rabbit. And so here is a huge success. You found something that is not working, and it's fast. So it's not the huge thing that need to be built. It's fast and easy, and the result is very, very close. And so bring it to the developers like this is a gold thing. So, oh my God, I found this. We know better that it's working, and promote this as something extremely good that we found is at as early as possible. So for me, this hunter mindset that I'm a fox and I'm going to eat this rabbit, so allowed me to be really happy when I found mistakes, and to tell to the developers that it's not like a problem and so on, by wow guys, I found this is a nice new path, and we know more about our software now, and it works very well.
Excellent. Another one, how can a manager encourage their team to regularly authorize their results?
Just take the protocol, and it can be introduced practically in every meeting. So you need to ask sort of a question. So how the result was intended to look like? So what actions do we had? And when they said, oh, this email was sent, just like correct them. Okay, you sent the email, so I sent the email. Okay, so that's good. And then, so what result was intended? And then what the result is, okay? Is it similar? Perfect. Is it not similar? Okay, what we need to adjust so this gap is closed.
Okay, good. Last question, hopefully it's a quick one. Someone asking, am I right when I see the brain energy levels saving energy, 9 and 1, I think it was. Is this similar to thinking fast and slow? I think that's a Daniel Kahneman book.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just, so it's too well known, so I didn't mention it here, but this thinking fast is very close to our instinct. So we need our mindset to be put in the fast system from the slow system. So this is the whole thing that we are establishing these paths in the brain. Yes, it's exactly this thing.
While we've been talking, another question has popped up. So this will be the last question, I think. How can a team change negative behaviors to positive behaviors?
So from my perspective, all negative behaviors are, so in any case, any behavior is working towards our survival. Think about why this behavior that you don't want the team to have is in team's brain is linked to their survival, and try to understand what's frightening for them is in the behavior that you want them to do, and try to reduce this stress in the behavior that you want. People don't do something that is against them. So there are some bonuses in the bad behavior and some stress in the good behavior. Try to find this and correct this.
That's very interesting. Well, I think we'll call it an end there. So thank you very much, Anya. Hopefully next time we'll see you in the flesh.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm missing it. So my heart is with you. Hopefully next time.
Next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.